Hello, and welcome to the virtual public meeting for the Muddy Mountains Special Recreation Management Area Travel Management Plan. My name is Christina Kacher Webb, and I work for Logan Simpson, a national environmental consulting firm. We completed the route inventory and then the evaluation process, and now prepared the draft environmental assessment and travel management plan, which we are reviewing during this public comment process. Today, I'll be assisting the Bureau of Land Management in facilitating this meeting. Also with me today is Casey Smith, a senior GIS analyst and route inventory specialist, as well as the BLM team from the Las Vegas field office. After we go over the agenda and we'll introduce the BLM specialists we have with us on the webinar today. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. You can also view closed captions by clicking on the captions button at the bottom of your Zoom toolbar. During today's meeting, we're going to go over some meeting details, meet the BLM specialist, and then go into a presentation. The presentation will review the planning area, details about the travel management planning process, and how it impacts you, as well as a review of the alternatives analyzed in the draft environmental assessment. Once we've learned more about the planning effort, we'll move into a question and answer session, followed by a formal public comment session. Your microphones will remain closed until the public comment session. Throughout the meeting, you can enter questions in the question and answer box, and verbal questions will be taken at the end of the Q&A. We will then answer the questions. We will answer the questions after the presentation. During the public comment session, we will call on those that have pre-registered for comments and then give others the opportunity to participate. We ask that you avoid any inappropriate language and be respectful of all attendees throughout the presentation. All these materials will be posted on the BLM's project website, the BLM National NEPA Register. We will put that link in the chat. To view the participant tools, including the Q&A or the question and answer box, you may have to move your mouse to hover over the bottom of the screen. If you have any urgent questions or need technical assistance, you can enter your message in the Q&A box. We'll use the raise your hand feature during the public comment session, and phone callers, you can use *9 to raise your hand. We will go into more detailed instructions about the Q&A sessions and the comment sessions later in the presentation. Now I'll hand it over to the Bureau of Land Management.
Hey, thanks, Christina, and good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Leslie, and I'm the Assistant Field Manager for the Division of Resources in the BLM's Las Vegas field office. As Christina said, tonight we are presenting on the Muddy Mountains Travel Management Plan. I'd like to point out the BLM is in the middle of a 30-day public comment period on the draft documents, including the travel management plan and environmental assessment. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to provide you with an update on the development of that draft travel management plan and its associated environmental assessment. We also want to provide you with an opportunity to ask clarifying questions and then also gather your verbal and written comments to help the BLM make an informed decision moving forward. With us tonight, we have a few folks from BLM. We have Kenny Kendrick, who is our project manager for this process. And then we also have a few resource specialists that are kind of helping out behind the scenes with any questions that come up. Thanks again for joining us tonight. We are committed to ensuring engagement with all of you in the management of your public lands. And the importance of the information that you provide through public comment can't be overstated. The Muddy Mountains planning area is located approximately 50 miles to the northeast of Las Vegas and approximately 25 miles southwest of Logandale in southern Nevada, and includes unique land features such as colorful sandstone outcrops, rugged limestone cliffs and canyons. It's also home to sensitive cultural and natural resources that require management and protection. The planning area also provides a number of recreation opportunities, including but not limited to off-highway vehicle use, equestrian use, hiking, camping, hunting, and wildlife viewing. We also have a few special recreation permits that are issued in the area, including for motorcycle races, sightseeing, and off-highway vehicle rock crawling events, among others. At this time, I'd like to introduce you again to Kenny Kendrick, the BLM project lead, who's going to continue with the presentation. So thank you all again.
Thank you, Steve, and good evening, everyone. And as Steve mentioned, my name is Kenny Kendrick, and I am the project lead for the Muddy Mountains Travel Management Plan. This plan is approximately 133,500 acres of Bureau of Land Management lands were analyzed as part of this travel management plan. The adjacent lands are managed by several land management entities to include the National Park Service, the Nevada Division of State Parks, and private property, along with the Wappa River Indian Reservation is nearby. The Muddy Mountains area was designated as a special recreation management area in the 1998 Las Vegas Resource Management Plan. The recreational based activities has increased and has amplified the need for the improved recreation management in the Muddy Mountain Special Recreation Management Area. Therefore, the BLM is proposing to complete a travel management plan for the whole Muddy Mountain Special Recreation Management Area, with the exception of the Muddy Mountains Wilderness Area. You may have noticed there's an acreage discrepancy between the resource management plan and the GIS acreage. This is due to the exact acreage designated by Congress in the Muddy Mountains Wilderness Area, along with Cadastral did a recent survey that resulted in an update of the acreage of the Muddy Mountains Special Recreation Management Area. The travel management plan will identify existing routes and trails in the Muddy Mountains Special Recreation Management Area and determine the appropriate management for those routes. The travel management plan is an implemented level decision that outlines a travel network and route designations. The travel management plan is comprised of 4 different stages: the route inventory, the route evaluation, the planning, and then the implementation. I will go over those stages and where the BLM is currently at later on in the slide. The National Environmental Policy Act, is also known as NEPA, requires federal agencies to evaluate the environmental effects of their proposed actions prior to making any decisions. The BLM has written an environmental assessment, was prepared, and includes the proposed action. The proposed action describes the proposed project the BLM is planning on completing. It also includes a purpose and need, which explains why the BLM believes a proposed action is necessary. It has different alternatives. The alternatives describes why the BLM is undertaking these proposed actions. And then it has a resource areas, an assessment of the environment impacts of the proposed actions and alternatives for each of those resource areas. So, how can this potentially affect you? This plan designates the route system in the Muddy Mountain Special Recreation Management Area to open to the public, routes for administrative use, and routes to be closed and rehabilitated. The travel management plan also identifies which types of travel will be allowed on these routes, such as motorized, non-motorized, or mechanized. This travel management plan is a very important step in the implementation of the resource management plan for the Las Vegas field office. The inventory was completed in December of 2022 by Logan Simpson. The public scoping period, which occurred in the spring of late last year, sought public comment on the route inventory and input on potential uses and resources of concern that was used in the evaluation process. Following the public comment period, each route was evaluated against a set of criteria to determine its use and whether it would be open, limited to administrative use, or closed and rehabilitated. That was called the route designation. A series of alternatives for each of the route designations were developed. Following the development of the alternatives, the environmental assessment analyzes the impacts and implementation of each different route alternative. We are currently in the review period of the draft travel management plan and environmental assessment. After the public comment period on the draft travel management plan and environmental assessment, we will then move to the final version of the travel management plan and environmental assessment, followed by administrative review. A decision of record is then released. And then after that, we can move on to the implementation section of it. I'm now going to pass it over to Casey with Logan Simpson to provide additional details on the route inventory and evaluation process.
Thanks, Kenny. Approximately 235 miles of existing routes were identified during the field inventory, which was conducted between December 9th, 2022 and December 14th, 2022, using GPS systems and a standardized data dictionary. While we were out, we collected photographs of signs, the route themselves, destinations, camp areas, dispersed camping areas, and we also captured the surface material of the route, the width, how it was established, and overall where the routes go. We also documented that one of the routes through the area is currently designated as the Bitter Springs Backcountry Byway. Following the route inventory, an additional 27.8 miles, which were authorized through BLM's special recreation permit process, were added prior to the completion of the route evaluation. The route evaluation process for the total of 263 miles of routes on BLM administered land was based on direction from the BLM national standards related to travel and transportation management, the 1998 Las Vegas Resource Management Plan and Record of Decision, the BLM Interdisciplinary Team Direction, and your public input. Each route being considered for inclusion into the designated travel network was evaluated individually against the established criteria. This detailed process utilized GIS to organize and assist with the analysis. The draft travel management plan includes an appendix of route reports, which details the results of the evaluation on a route-by-route basis. And now I'll hand it back over to Christina.
Thanks, Casey. The public scoping period was held in the spring of 2023. We collected comments via an in-person and a virtual public meeting, as well as through an ArcGIS online commenting tool, the BLM's National NEPA Register, as well as mail. We received 53 comment submissions throughout that process. The scoping report, which can be found on the NEPA Register, includes a summary of topics identified for consideration during the development of alternatives and analyzing the environmental impacts. They range from the NEPA process itself to specific route designations to concerns about resources or specific resource uses, anywhere from cultural to bioresources, and then a variety of recreation and different types of OHV use. Based on the public scoping and interdisciplinary team input, 4 alternatives were developed. They include Alternative A, which is the no action alternative. This represents a continuation of current management and provides just the baseline inventoried routes. Alternative B allows for the greatest extent of open routes while maintaining some resource conservation measures of those values identified during scoping. Alternative C is our conservation alternative, which emphasizes protection of physical, biological, and heritage resources with the most constraints on open routes. Alternative D, which is also referred to as the blended alternative, is a combination of alternative B and C and balances access with resource protection and restoration. This table compares the various route designations across the 4 alternatives. No new route construction is proposed. As you can see, the total route mileage is the same across all alternatives. Alternatives B, C, and D designate those non-inventoried routes primarily into the open to motorcycle single track category. Authorized use only includes routes open to mineral claim, utilities, or other permitted uses. And then alternative C generally closes the greatest number of routes. Alternative D focuses on closing routes that are redundant, do not contribute to the route network, or conflicts with sensitive resources. I'll now briefly go through the alternative maps. These are also posted on the BLM's National NEPA Register, along with GIS shapefiles and KMZs. As you can see, alternative A is the existing inventoried routes, along with those non-inventoried permitted routes shown on this map. Alternative B focuses on which routes would be closed or open to authorized uses, mostly open, as well as those single track motorcycle routes. In comparison, alternative C provides more conservation for certain areas like raptors or sensitive plant species or springs, closing off access to those. And then alternative D, which is our proposed alternative, shows a blend of those open, closed, administered, authorized use, and then motorcycle use. Okay, now we'll start the question and answer session. I'd like to remind everyone that we'll be using the Q&A feature. This feature is located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You may have to toggle your mouse or exit the full screen mode to view the toolbar. We plan to answer as many questions live as possible. If we're not able to get to any questions, we will post them along with this recording on the National NEPA Register. We will answer questions that have been submitted throughout the presentation first, and then go to any phone callers before addressing other questions. Looks like we don't have anyone on the phone, but if you are on the phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand, and then you can press *6 to unmute. Okay. Take some time to put in your questions if you have any. We'll go ahead and answer them at this time. Question and answer session is your opportunity to get clarifying questions before the formal public comment period, which will be up next. No questions? Anyone? We'll give it a minute or two before we move on. Thanks for the comment. Here we go. Okay. To answer this first question, how far away in miles will the motorcycle routes or OHE routes be from the beginning of MPS land close to wilderness?
Thank you. That is a good question. Now, I'd like to just point out the travel management plan will be for Bureau of Land Management lands only. Now, with that being said, there are some routes that will go straight up to the wilderness boundary, but some of those will be marked off by posting cables or some type of barriers. So that way they can still access the wilderness area. Now, when it comes to the NPS lands, there are certain routes that will go through NPS lands. However, this plan is only focusing on Bureau of Land Management lands and not the travel network for the NPS portions of it.
You're just joining us. We just went through a brief presentation providing an overview of the travel management plan for the Muddy Mountain Special Recreation Management Area, which will also be posted online on the National NEPA Register. We're in the middle of our Q&A session before we move on to formal public comment. So if you have any questions, we'll be taking them for the next couple of minutes in our Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So very fun. Got a couple more minutes to answer any of your Q&A questions before we go into formal public comment. Questions at this time, but we'll give it about 1 more minute. We don't have any other questions. So we have a couple of people on the call, so. Okay, here we go. So moving on, before we start the public comment session, we'd like to go over a few tips for effective comments. The BLM's Las Vegas field office will address substantive comments during the review of the Muddy Mountains Special Recreation Management Area Draft Travel Management Plan. Substantive comments include comments that raise issues the BLM has not identified, recommend specific changes with a specific reasoning, including any new information or data, and provides references to those background data, new data, or comments. Some additional effective tips for being effective. Please be specific and concise as possible. Focus your comments on specific routes or areas. You can provide information on season or types of uses. And of course, provide that justification or that sound reasoning for the desired actions. After tonight, the comment period will continue through August 16th. We thank you for your participation, and we'd like to provide multiple ways to provide comments. If you wish to provide additional comments, you can provide them on ePlanning, the National NEPA Register at eplanning.blm.gov. You can search Muddy Mountains Special Recreation Management Area or the NEPA number that is provided here. We'll also post this in the chat. Comments can be mailed to the Las Vegas field office or emailed as well. We'll come back to this information at the end of the presentation as well. Now we will move into the formal comment session. We'll be accepting verbal comments this evening. I will remind everyone that your microphones will be closed until you have been called on to provide your comment. I'm going to read through the instructions now. We'll accept comments in the order people registered, and then we'll open comments to others that wish to provide comments. We will call out the name of commenters who are next in line. When you hear your name, please raise your hand so we know you're available, and then we will ask you to unmute. You can unmute by clicking on the participant icon, and by your name, you'll see the mute button, microphone button. Once you have raised your hand and you have been unmuted, we'll ask you to spell out your first and last name. We ask that you be mindful and respectful of the length of your verbal comments in order to allow others to provide input. Each commenter will have 2 minutes to provide their verbal comment. If you do not feel that you are able to complete your verbal comment today, the BLM strongly encourages you to submit it in writing to be fully considered. Should there be time after the initial round of comments, those who did not finish may be invited back to finish their comment. Again, before you comment, we will ask you to spell in your first and last name for the record. After that, I'll give you notice that you can go ahead and provide your comment, and this will begin your 2 minutes. Our first commenters tonight in order of registration is Jose and then Gina. Go ahead and raise your hand so they know that you are on the meeting and ready to offer your comment. And then I'll call on the first person. Okay, Jose, allow you to untalk. Please spell your first and last name for the record, and then you can begin your comment.
Yeah, Jose Witt, Josewitt. I didn't plan to comment. I'm going to submit written comments. So yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Next, we have Gina, and then at this time, we don't have any other pre-registered folks. So if anyone else on the call would like to provide a comment tonight, you can go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you next. Gina, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Gina Mealy. Some of you already know me.
Gina, can you please spell your first and last name for the record before you
Oh,
start?
hi.
Sorry.
Gina, Gina, last name Mealy, M-E-L-E.
Thanks. Go ahead.
So I work for the National Park Service. I'm an outdoor rec planner at Lake Mead National Recreation Area. And there are just concerns with the staff there that some of these OHV routes and motorcycle routes are very close to the wilderness within our Lake Mead boundary. So my question is, in those particular areas, would National Park Service know exactly where they are? Can I go offline and speak with one of you to see exactly where the boundary is? Because I haven't had a chance to look at the maps yet. I was just told about this recently. And because I was concerned we might need to put up a sign that says this is entering National Park Service land. Because how are the routes going to end? Are they going to be looped next to the National Park Service where they go in a loop avoiding driving into National Park Service? Do we need to put a National Park Service sign that says entering National Park Service wilderness, please, do not enter? We're just concerned about the motorized vehicle in the wilderness, vehicle use. So I just wanted to get exactly where that boundary is and where those OHV routes might be a problem, so I was just getting information.
Yeah, hey, and Christine, I'm gonna break protocol here a little bit. Hi, Gina. And we
Hi,
are
Steve.
happy. We're happy to set up a call with you offline. I'll get with Kenny and we'll get something scheduled so we can go through the all of the different maps and where the data is, and we can have a more in-depth conversation with you. So we're happy to do that. So I just want to jump in and let you know.
Oh, hi, Steve. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay,
You bet.
awesome.
Yep.
Okay, nice talking to you. Nice seeing you again. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gina. At this time, I don't see any other hands raised. So we'll give it a moment. If you are interested in providing your public comment tonight, you can go ahead and raise your hand. Any other hands raised at this time? We'll go ahead and close the public comment session in 1 minute. And then we'll be back open for any Q&A. Go ahead and conclude our public comment session. I'll go ahead and put up the information on how to submit comments. We will be here till 8 p.m. to answer any questions, and I will let Steve wrap us up here.
Well, good evening again, everyone. I just want to thank you for spending a little bit of your evening with us. I do appreciate your participation and look forward to getting additional input and comments. Please remember our comment period is open through August 16th. And if anyone else has any follow-up questions or is looking for any additional information, please go ahead and reach out to the BLM office and you can contact Kenny Kendrick at the office here, and we will follow up with any questions. So thanks once again. Again, I really appreciate your time tonight and look forward to all of your input on this process. Sorry, I also want to add that we will keep the meeting open until 8 o'clock in case any other participants do log in. And we'll also be available to respond to written questions through the Q&A box in Zoom. Sorry, I forgot to include that.